Good morning, 6:03. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Erin's got local news getting ready right now.
It is hot, hot, hot. Heat advisory is in effect for all of our area. We'll be talking more about that. Tragedy in Natchitoches. A baby is dead. And there is a new name you haven't heard in the mayor's race.
Where? What?
Yep.
Were you right?
Eh.
Not exactly earth-shaking?
No.
And where did that rain come from yesterday?
I don't know.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Matt has a post at keelnews.com. We will discuss more than once today, and it's about the place we live. Fletcher, sports, traffic, and weather, it's all coming up this hour, and it's here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Heat advisory issued for the northern part of the state. A heat index values could reach 110 degrees. Meteorologist Mario Valverde in Shreveport says the hot temps expected to last a while.
We're going to stay nice and toasty through the weekend. That's why everybody needs to be very cautious to avoid the heat of the day.
He says we'll have temperatures in the low hundreds possibly today and tomorrow, maybe Saturday as well. A baby kidnapped and burned to death in Natchitoches. Matt Parker has the latest.
Natchitoches police are investigating the death of a 6-month-old baby boy. According to police, the baby was taken from a home in Mayberry Trailer Park. The mother of the child said 2 people broke into her trailer, sprayed her in the face with mace, and took her child. Police began a search of the area for the baby. About an hour later, investigators found a fire where the child was being burned to death. At this time, the search for suspects continues. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
DuPont Fish Market on Market Street shut down by state officials. Health inspectors found numerous health code violations that they deemed unsafe and dangerous to the public. According to inspectors, DuPont had rodents living in the shop, rusted utensils, and unclean surfaces that come in contact with food. In order to reopen, the fish market must correct all cited violations. The feds are stepping in to help fight crime in Shreveport. Project Safe Neighborhoods aims to get armed criminals off the streets and behind bars. U.S. Attorney David Joseph tells us since the program was implemented last year in Shreveport, violent crime has seen a significant drop.
We are focusing more of our prosecutorial resources on violent crime, particularly felons with guns and drug dealers with guns who cause the most damage to the communities that they're in.
While Shreveport's currently enduring a bit of a spike in crime, the U.S. Attorney's Office says this initiative is yielding big results. Case of West Nile reported in the local area. Of the 6 reported cases in the state, 1 happened in our region. The Department of Health reporting that a serious case of West Nile virus has been diagnosed in DeSoto Parish. An accused cop killer's trial once again delayed. The trial of Grover Cannon, the man accused of killing Shreveport police officer Thomas LaValle in 2015, has had his trial delayed for another 3 months. Cannon was set to be in court August 20th. However, that date has been moved back to October 8th. Qualifying for Shreveport's mayoral race going on through tomorrow. 7 people qualified to run for the office yesterday. Leo Savage was first in line. Joining him were Adrian Perkins, Jim Talaferro, current Mayor Ollie Tyler, Jerron Rogers, Termikius Dixon, and Stephen Jackson. Big skirmish, maybe political, over lethal injection in Louisiana. Attorney General Jeff Landry blaming the governor for the lack of executions in our state. But the governor says Landry has not attempted to contact him or his office and sent this letter out of the blue.
I don't believe there has been any communication from him or his office to me or my office about this matter since about October of last year.
The governor insists the reason behind the delay of executions comes down to the lack of availability of drugs to carry out lethal injections. President Trump seems to be shifting his tone on Russia, trying out a tougher line. Trump said on Wednesday that when he met Russian President Putin in Helsinki, he told him to stay out of America's elections and, quote, that's the way it's going to be. State police have discovered $63,000 hidden above ceiling tiles in the home of a Michigan priest who's accused of embezzling millions. The cash was in $2,000 bundles. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Ten past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Thursday morning traffic starting us off. Yo, Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Uri Drive southbound near Southfield Road due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 13 past 6 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. As the phrase goes, you got to play hurt. Sometimes you just got to play hurt. And you're playing hurt this morning.
Yeah.
So what happened last night? You're over in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And you hit a deer in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So you were deer hunting? You were bear hunting?
No, I was not deer hunting.
You were coming back. Fill us in.
And
don't move that quickly.
I know. I was picking up a friend at the train station in Marshall. And
so like about what, 8, 9?
8 p.m., yeah.
So it was dusk.
It was dark by the time I got him in the car and we left. So I was coming back.
So close to 9.
It was like 8:45, yes,
okay.
when it happened. And I'm coming down 80.
Which is, I know what you're talking about. It literally is as country, a country
yeah.
road as I mean, you're in that stretch where there's like an old abandoned Dairy Queen or something. You know the one I'm talking about?
It's a 12-mile stretch. I mean, but it is way shorter than going down 59 to get to I-20. Because that's like doing an airline drive thing with all the lights and all that, and then getting to the interstate.
Don't wave your arms around. You could mess up your spine.
Yeah, but I'm driving down that 12-mile stretch on 80, going east, heading back to the entrance where you get on I-20.
Know exactly where you mean.
And past the Loop 390. And out of the freaking blue comes what I think from the left side, I can't even look that far, comes what looked like a really big dog. And I thought, and I at the moment,
I mean, running.
Get ready for the jack spring electric button. Yeah, it was run. Well, no, it wasn't running. It was kind of at a loop-de-doo-de-doo-de-doo pace. And I'm like, get moving. And then both of us simultaneously, my passenger and me both went, oh, shiznit. And I swerved as hard to the left as I could as it was running, across the road. But I didn't have time. I clipped it with the front of the car.
So you think it was a deer?
Oh, it was definitely a deer. We saw it at that point.
Did it run off?
I didn't look back. I felt terrible. I feel that's the worst I feel today. I feel terrible about the deer. I feel terrible. There's no, because I asked my buddy who was with me, I said, do you think the deer made it? And he said, no, it toppled. It toppled butt over tea kettle. And said, I'm sure you broke the legs. I just hope I killed it instantly. If it died, I hope it didn't lay there. And I can't even think about that. That's just terrible.
So I looked at the car. It's not the worst damage in the world.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not too bad.
It's drivable, right?
It's drivable. I drove it here, but
like
I picked up a station vehicle last night because I was like, I don't want something to go wrong between then and me getting to work this morning and all that.
Right.
I said, let me just get a vehicle that's I know is usable, and I'll get it to my insurance people today.
So how you feeling?
But I was fine last night.
Yeah.
Because I had to call a couple of people and let them know. And, of course, the first thing they ask is, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm fine. And the airbags didn't go off or anything. But now I'm waking up with when you tense up at the moment of impact? So my neck is knotted up today, and it's knotted up down to my back. And I'm like, it could be old age. It could be the wreck. I don't know. But it's not been this locked up in a while. So my back is kind of locked up and my neck is kind of locked up this morning.
Wow.
So I don't know, but the car is whatever. Like I wanted to deal with that today. But I feel bad for the deer, Robert.
I get that.
I feel terrible. Part of me is like, why didn't I go back and check on him? What was I going to do for him?
Because you're going 60 miles an hour in the dark.
Yeah, and we stopped.
What are you going to do? Throw him in the back seat and take him to,
I know, take him to the vet clinic.
To Animal 911.
Right, but when we got to the ramp where you get on the interstate, we did pull over because we wanted to look to see, is it rubbing the tire? Is this stuff, is it safe to even get on the freeway with it? I wasn't sure. Because we knew immediately the front headlight went out. He goes, I said, you think it's damaged the car? He goes, well, yeah, your headlight's out already. And see, I can't tell one headlight from the other when I'm driving. I can't tell that.
Words to live by there.
And he said, yeah, your headlight's out already. And I said, so it's cracked the headlight? He goes, yeah. I said, you think there's other damage? He said, yeah, there probably is. So we stopped, and he checked it for me.
It's not in the scheme of things. It's not as bad, like Matt said. When you described what happened, I mean, I've known guys, when I was living in Michigan, it happens all the time. You get north, when I lived in Grand Rapids, you get outside the city, there's deer on the highway all the time. And I had a friend of mine, one went through the windshield on him and ended up literally alive in his back seat. And the worst damage he suffered was the kicking deer.
Wow. Golly.
I mean, you read all the time about people hitting deer and them coming through the windshield and crushing the driver.
Yeah, no doubt.
So in the scheme of things, you kind of lucked out there, kid.
If I had T-boned it and had not swerved really hard and hit the front, I'd have had radiator juice, all that.
It would have come right up over the hood into the vehicle. And you're talking probably something that weighs, what do you think, Matt, 300 or 400 pounds?
It depends on the size.
It was a big one. It jolted the car. I mean, it was like...
Imagine a 150-pound animal coming through your windshield.
Yeah.
So consider yourself fortunate.
I know. I'm lucky today, and I'm gonna be okay. Everything's fine. The car will get fixed, and everything will get back to normal. It's just
Such a pain.
Matt, don't even pay attention to this.
Such
Just
a pain.
I ignore you anyway.
At
my
your age, I know you hate
I
stuff.
just don't want to deal with extra stuff.
You know,
It's like, when am I going to get my nap? My nap's going to be screwed up. I'm going to have to talk to an
Believe-
adjuster.
see, every word you are saying to
Oh.
me, there's a reason.
Every
Okay,
little pebble
Why?
under the mattress drives me crazy now.
why did you eventually, after waiting more than 5 years, have your house redecorated? Because you had no choice.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Why, after waiting more than 5 years, have I not had my house decorated? Because my hot water heater has not fallen through 2 floors to the kitchen. When it does,
You'll
I'm
do your
calling
house.
your guy.
Yeah.
19 past 6 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Sports on TV. What does that have to do with this radio show? I can't give too much away. Did I just do cartoon noise? Did I just kind of do Popeye? We'll discuss when we get back. 19 past 6 o'clock. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Uri Drive southbound near Southfield Road due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.117 FM, 710 Keel. Time for sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Conference USA media members tabbed Louisiana Tech to finish second behind North Texas in the league's West Division in football this year. The balloting took place at the annual Media Day in Irving, Texas on Wednesday. Florida Atlantic is the favorite to repeat in the East. SEC Media Days conclude today in Atlanta. Alabama and Nick Saban were center stage yesterday. The Tide's head coach blamed the media for creating a quarterback controversy, despite the fact it was him who pulled Jalen Hurts at halftime of the national title game in January and inserted freshman Tua Tagovailoa. The move paid off with the rookie from Hawaii tossing the game-winning touchdown in the overtime win over Georgia. Saban also said he was unsure if Hurts will be on the roster when the season opens, when he was asked if the junior quarterback plans to transfer. Hurts is expected to graduate in December with a year of eligibility remaining. The British Open is underway at Carnoustie. Phil Mickelson, Ricky Fowler, and Jordan Spieth were among those with early tee times. Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy hit the course at around 7 our time, with Tiger Woods teeing off at 9:21. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
23 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. So last night, maybe night before, I didn't know that, I guess now on a weekly basis, ESPN, because, you know, the only season now is baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And they can't be on every channel. And so I think it was ESPN, maybe Fox Sports, but probably ESPN the other night is showing, and they do this weekly, I guess. They have cornhole on TV. And it
Darts
looks like,
too.
And it looks like the guys who are really, really good at this they look like guys who still live in their mom's basement.
Oh boy.
They probably do.
And I mean, it's guys who are like about early 20s, about 6 feet tall, weigh about 130 pounds, wearing T-shirts too small and pants too big. And I say that to tell you this. They've already sold big sponsorships. And you see the sponsors' signs on the wall behind the players. And maybe you've seen this, I haven't seen this, and I think it's one of the great logos, one of the great slogans, sell ad lines of all time.
Oh, boy.
And it's Johnsonville, the meat company. And you know the line I'm going to do? Do you know it? Have you seen it?
Go ahead.
You can't spell sausage without USA. Is that awesome or what?
That's pretty good.
You can't spell sausage.
Oh, that's pretty
and
good.
And then they've got USA in sausage. S-A. USA. G-E. USA with stars and stripes.
Talk about a cheap pop, brother.
You can't spell sausage without USA. Now, golf, the British Open is on right now. I mean, they start our time like about 1 or 2 in the morning. I want you to write this down. Grab a pen.
Okay.
And a piece of paper.
Got it.
Or you can type this out. I want you to write this down and then read it to me.
All right.
First word, A-Y-S.
Okay.
Second word, K-L-A-N-I-N-G. Third word, E-E-S. No, third word, A-Y-S again.
A-Y-S.
Yeah. And fourth word, B-O-O.
B-O-O.
Now read that to me.
A's clanning A's boo.
That's close. Now, with an English accent, do you have any idea what you just said?
A's clanning A's boo. A's clanning A's boo. A's clanning A's boo. A's clanning A's boo.
Parky?
I'm too confused by her voices to guess.
I know, I'm talented. I can't explain it.
The second word is the verb in the sentence.
Okay.
Oh, that's a sentence.
Yeah.
I thought it was someone's name.
The second word is the verb in the sentence.
Okay.
The last word is the direct object.
Okay.
The first word, obviously, is the subject.
Eyes.
He's cleaning his ball.
He's cleaning his ball.
No.
He's cleaning his boo.
He's cleaning his boo.
He's cleaning his boo.
Yeah, that's how they said it. That's how the guy said it on TV this morning when I'm watching
his boo.
He's cleaning his boo.
Who said this?
The announcer, the British guy.
Oh, my goodness.
It's the British Open. Well, the Open Championship is what they call it.
Good night. He's cleaning his boo.
God, it's like I'm in England.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
My mind's blown.
Like I'm talking to the Queen, for the love of God.
Oh, boy.
A new candidate in the mayor's race.
Yeah.
But I don't know who this is.
Not me either.
Either
don't know him.
Jaron or Jaron Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know much about him. We found a Jaron Rogers on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it's the most previous post is 2013, but that doesn't mean it just means he could have all he could have all the Facebook, he could have his guards up.
Right.
Because we're not his friend. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people we can text, well, one fewer than a couple of days ago, to find out who he is. But we are efforting.
That was good.
Boy.
That was good.
Thank you very much.
It's pretty good.
Anything new on that, by the way?
No, not really. Not really.
Last report, you got like a little kissy face on the Facebook.
Well,
Well, she spent the afternoon sparring with some listeners.
That's awesome.
Trading some verbal
not
barbs.
me. Not me.
No.
Not
With the
me.
KEEL listeners.
City council member did. Yeah, she spent the afternoon on our
That's
page.
what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I to be honest, I'm kind of angry today about it, but I talked to Matt about this, and he helped me feel better.
Talk about it when we get back.
Yeah.
I mean, does it go back to the fact that you're a hater?
Pretty much, yeah.
That you're an awful human being? That you're the white devil?
Yeah.
I mean, we took a vote. It's 2-0 in here. You are the white devil.
Am I?
28 past 6 o'clock. 101, huh?
I said at least to us.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Erin has local news in just a couple of seconds, plus traffic and weather on the way here on Keel. .117 FM, 710 Keel, Thursday morning. Kind of a slow week. Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Uri Drive southbound near Southfield Road due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A baby kidnapped and burned to death in Natchitoches. Police say the baby was reportedly taken from a home in a trailer park. The mother of the child said 2 people broke in, sprayed her with mace, and took her baby. Police began a search of the area. About an hour later, they found a fire where the child was being burned to death. Local fish market shut down. Matt Parker with that.
DuPont Fish Market on Market Street has been shut down by state officials. Health inspectors found numerous health code violations that they deemed unsafe and dangerous to the public. According to the inspectors, DuPont had rodents living in the shop, rusty utensils, and unclean surfaces that come in contact with food. In order to reopen, the fish market must correct all cited violations. From 1017 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
Qualifying to run for mayor of Shreveport runs through tomorrow. 7 people have qualified so far. Leo Savage was the first. Joining him were Adrian Perkins, Jim Talaferro, current Mayor Ollie Tyler, Jerron Rogers, Termicus Dixon, and Stephen Jackson. The Department of Health reporting a serious case of West Nile virus diagnosed in DeSoto Parish. Of the 3 types of the virus, the neuroinvasive type is the most serious as it attacks the brain and spinal cord. That's the type of West Nile that can lead to death or permanent damage. Health officials say if you're feeling ill, it's best to seek treatment from a doctor immediately. Federal program in place to help reduce crime in our community. U.S. Attorney David Joseph says since the program was implemented last year, violent crime has seen a significant drop. Now, 2013 was Shreveport's lowest rate of violent crime, and Joseph hopes the project Safe Neighborhoods will reduce crime back to that rate.
Kind of the interconnectedness we are as a society now lends itself towards people having more information than they may have had in the past about what's going on, and it kind of acts as an echo chamber. People hear the same story over and over again, and they think there's an epidemic. going on.
Accused cop killer's trial once again delayed. The trial of Grover Cannon, the man accused of killing Shreveport police officer Thomas LaValle, has had his trial delayed for another 3 months. He was set to be in court August 20th. However, that date's been moved back to October 8th. Heat advisory in effect for the northern half of the state. Meteorologist Mario Valverde in Shreveport says North Louisiana will see temps in the low hundreds by tomorrow.
103, 104, very, very possible. Now, you go out west, I mean, they're talking like 108 over in the DFW area.
Valverde says being too active out in the heat could have some serious health repercussions. There was mixed reaction to President Trump backpedaling the comments he made Monday during his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We need to be pressing back on Vladimir Putin. Putin is a KGB thug. I think it was a mistake what the president said at the press conference. I think we're also seeing a lot of folks on the political left trying to take advantage of it, using hyperventilating and using extreme rhetoric, using words like treason, which is ridiculous. It was a mistake. He shouldn't have said what he said. But we should be focusing on the substance, and the substance is standing up against Russian aggression.
Senator Ted Cruz. Forbes magazine's released their annual list of the most valuable sports teams. No big change at the top.
The Dallas Cowboys are once again the most valuable team in the world. Forbes magazine publishing their annual list Wednesday of most valuable sports franchises, with the Cowboys put at $4.8 billion, up 14% from last year. Rounding out the top 5 soccer clubs, Manchester United, Real Madrid, and FC Barcelona, and then the New York Yankees. Of the 50 most valuable teams according to Forbes, 29 of them are NFL teams, with the Cincinnati Bengals, Detroit Lions, and Buffalo Bills just missing out. The biggest gainer in terms of ranking on the list was the Houston Rockets, jumping up 14 spots to number 40. The biggest fall was the New York Jets, slipping 8 spots to number 21. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Job fair going on all day today at Municipal Auditorium, the city hosting the event, but several large companies will be there looking for workers. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Shoot. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, the KEEL app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. So what are you still mad about?
I'm a little bit angry about after I slept on it, about saying that I was inciting a white mob
give everybody
lynching mentality.
Give everybody a little update here. If you weren't listening the last couple of days,
this is the case of the Urban Film Festival that was awarded $10,000 from the city on a 4-2 city council vote of $10,000 in funding for their festival, which is coming up a week from Saturday. This thing was kind of rushed through the city council. Would it be fair to say, because I think you kind of said this before, that in your mind everybody associated with this on both sides was somewhat ill-prepared? Yeah, absolutely. And now the organizer of the festival has said she does not want the money. After all the hubbub and the furor, because one of the rules for her festival was that all films submitted had to be either written or directed by an African American, and that caused a little bit of a hubbub because the city code says city funds cannot be spent on anything that discriminates based on sex, race, gender, etc.
Any protected class.
Right, exactly.
Doesn't the city code also, and correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't the city code also say that you can't give money to a for-profit company.
Right, and these folks did not have not-for-profit status yet. Now they may have been working on it, and my whole issue is that you're violating your code. You're violating the laws that are in place, and you rush this through.
The city council was violating the laws also. Isn't that true?
Yeah, exactly. And there would have been a lawsuit. There would have been people that would have sued over this and said, you can't do this. It's against your city laws. But it got blown up into this whole African-American thing and how we stirred up a frenzy, a white lynch mob mentality.
Do you still have the post? I mean, do you still have the text?
If I have to read it.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Let's go to break.
Okay.
For anybody that hasn't heard, we can recover that when we come back, and you can tell me why you're still, because you went from angry to nauseous to wanting to cry yesterday when we talked about this.
Yeah.
So we'll update your emotional status when we get back. 639, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Yo, Ruben, what you got, kid?
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Uri Drive southbound near Southfield Road due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
I forgot where I was. That's never a good sign. That's never a
No,
good
it's
sign.
not.
Who am I? 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, 641, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. No, what happened was I started to say 1017 FM, and then I thought about at your behest. There's sort of a minor project that Matt and I are working on.
Well, that scares me.
Sort of no, you'll like it, I think.
Maybe.
And
This week.
It's updating, not really updating, the bumper music with a lot of songs, with a lot of records. This in the sort of a tribute to Stan Lewis.
Sort of, yeah.
And the Shreveport music world. We'll talk about this 710, I promise. 710, I promise.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm stuck here with you two.
Your Keel News article, Keel News post from a couple of days ago. And so we're putting in as bumper music a lot of Shreveport stuff, from Paula Records, Jewel Records, Ron Records. There was Sonic Records. Did you know that there was a recording studio? You wouldn't know, you weren't here. When I was a kid growing up here in high school, there was a recording studio where the Gia Cosmidas Law Office is right on Line Avenue across catty corner to Byrd High School. That was a recording studio. I had no idea. So we're putting in and you'll hear some as the morning goes on, maybe if they come up in the rotation. You'll hear some really interesting blues stuff and rock stuff and some disco stuff. And if you go, what the heck is that? And why are they playing that on Keel?
Yeah.
Just assume that it was recorded
right here
in Shreveport, Louisiana, and odds are by a Shreveport artist.
That really is amazing.
So, back to why you're upset. Back to the...
I've slept on it, and I'm angrier today than I was yesterday.
So, in the midst of all this, to use your term, hubbub, about the Shreveport Urban Film Festival, you had a couple of criticisms, and it was, I don't want to say painting with a broad brush, but basically you just said, look, everybody involved, this was just It wasn't well. It was not well implemented.
No, it was not.
Fair enough.
It was hastily thrown together.
So at that point, bring everybody up to speed in what happened.
Well, the film festival organizer has decided she does not want the city money, and so she's turned it down. And then I was trying to confirm that, so I was asking several people, texting and calling, if she officially has turned it down. I found out she had, but one of the texts went to City Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch.
Now, Ms. Lynch had sponsored the initial legislation, the initial grant.
Right. And her text is what's troubling me today. She says if she does turn down the money,
which she did, I'm squarely
holding you all responsible for inciting a white mob against this young lady. Absolutely irresponsible what you all did and why and how you did it. This is the same kind of shiznit that gets black people killed. I feel you all owe her and your listeners an apology for this public lynching. No pun intended. It was just wrong.
So
she's accusing you and I of a public lynching.
So we
wait. Because that would be like me calling her by a racial slur name.
You think so?
That's how I feel today. If I called her a racial slur name, that's how I feel on the other end of it. She just called me a KKK lynch mob.
Now, you started off...
And I take offense to that.
You started yesterday. You said you were nauseous.
I was.
Then you were angry.
Yeah.
And then you said at the end of the segment, late in the show yesterday, this is why a lot of folks may not have heard this story yet. So late in the show yesterday, around 8:30 or 8:35, I forget, your last words were, I feel like I'm going to cry.
Yeah, and then she wants to accuse me of, but you know what I got? And
so here we are.
Wait. Little do we know things that impact people. But my phone blew up yesterday. People thanking me for telling the story of my family, which I don't share that. My family has never bragged about what my mom's done, my mom's history. But I shared it yesterday because I was so ticked off. And that's the thing people reacted to. Thank you so much for sharing that story.
So here we are. You've had it's fermented is not the right word. You had a chance to let everything sort of, certainly hasn't settled.
Yeah, it's brewed in that West Virginia still pot.
So here we are about 36 hours later, not quite 2 days later, and you said you're angrier than ever.
Yeah.
And you said you talked about it with Matt.
I did. I talked about it with Matt. I said, Matt, is she calling me a white lynch mob person? Is that what she's saying? And Matt helped talk me off the ledge. Tell him what you told me.
Wait. Let's talk about the ledge. What's wrong with being on the ledge?
I don't want to be considered a white mob
lynch
you said person.
Talk you off the ledge. Maybe those are words that deserve whatever emotion you have that to use your term, took you out on the ledge.
Yeah, and
maybe you shouldn't be talked off the ledge.
Maybe I should stay angry.
I don't know.
Maybe I should.
But maybe I'm
seeing it from a different light, and he's helping me see it from a little bit of a different light.
Yeah, I personally just think in this situation, maybe Stephanie's lashing out a little bit because she's upset that she didn't do her job properly. As someone who sponsored the legislation and kind of put this whole thing together, maybe, if she did the due diligence to walk this young lady through, hey, we got some city money for you. We think this is a great event. If you do blah, 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 we can help you out. But it doesn't sound like she did any of that. Yeah. So maybe she's lashing out at you for her failings as a city council person.
Well, I do want to tell you that she has opposition. James Green qualified to run against her yesterday. She didn't qualify yet. She hasn't qualified yet. This morning, how I'm feeling?
Sounds to me like, go ahead. Like you're still out on the... Look,
no.
I get your anger. You said, does that bother you? You asked me yesterday, you're not mad about this? I said, no, not really.
Today I am.
No, what I mean is you asked me.
Oh, yeah, I can't believe you're not.
I'm not that.
She called you a Klan member.
But I'm not, so why would it bother me? But I'm not, so why would it bother me? It's like anything else. Anybody calls you a name, you say to yourself, am I that? No, then what difference does it make?
Yeah.
What effect does that have on my life? None.
I don't want people thinking that about me, spreading that about me, talking about me like that.
What makes
I don't want even that is so far from who I am that it hurts my feelings because I thought not that we were buddies, but I thought we had a mutual respect for one another, and I would never use those kind of terms against her.
Well, now let me screw up everything I've just said. Maybe she thinks that about you too. Maybe she thought, I thought I could count on Erin. I thought she was my friend. How come how could she do this?
I question everything I think's wrong. I think everybody at City Hall, everybody at parish government will tell you, if I see something I think smells like a rat, I'm going to talk about it. And if you can tell me why I'm wrong logically and not call me a white lynch mob, then maybe I'll listen to you. But what I'm thinking about this morning, to be honest, I'm thinking, go green. Sorry. Had to throw that out there.
649, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Those bunker. 649, traffic update. Ruben's ready.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Uri Drive southbound near Southfield Road due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.652, time for Keel Sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Conference USA media members tabbed Louisiana Tech to finish second behind North Texas in the league's West Division in football this year. The balloting took place at the annual Media Day in Irving, Texas on Wednesday. Florida Atlantic is the favorite to repeat in the East. SEC Media Days conclude today in Atlanta. Alabama and Nick Saban were center stage yesterday. The Tide's head coach blamed the media for creating a quarterback controversy, despite the fact it was him who pulled Jalen Hurts at halftime of the national title game in January and inserted freshman Tua Tagovailoa. The move paid off with the rookie from Hawaii tossing the game-winning touchdown in the overtime win over Georgia. Saban also said he was unsure if Hurts will be on the roster when the season opens when he was asked if the junior quarterback plans to transfer. Hurts is expected to graduate in December with a year of eligibility remaining. The British Open is underway at Carnoustie. Phil Mickelson, Ricky Fowler, and Jordan Spieth were among those with early tee times. Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy hit the course at around 7 our time, with Tiger Woods teeing off at 9:21. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.655, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. I've got a friend of mine, and every time he plans his trips to New York around Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, wow. He's there last night then.
And no, he was not, but he has seen him there twice, maybe 3 times, twice I know of.
Wow.
And he says it's the most amazing show. And he said before I went the first time, I was not a big Billy Joel fan. But he said to see Billy Joel, it is just, and I can't, you know who that, I liked Michael Bublé until I saw Michael Bublé in person. Now I love Michael Bublé.
Love him.
Basically, that was what he said. I liked Billy Joel until I saw Billy Joel in person. Now I can't live without Billy Joel.
He had a very special surprise guest last night.
Yeah,
I'll tell you about it coming.
Well, no,
Shush! It's coming up in the news. It's coming up in the news. Hush.
Okay, I thought that was
Hush.
all.
I didn't know it was a secret. Shh. It's the most talked about thing in the national news.
Hush.
It won't take them long to find out.
You hadn't heard about it until you just heard me read it. You didn't know about it till I just read it.
Well, except it's the headline on 3 different websites.
You didn't even know about it till I just read it.
I thought he had been married more than 4 times.
Billy Joel?
I thought he'd been married more than 4, but we'll talk about that more
Okay.
after 7 o'clock when you tell everybody who was and wasn't on stage with Billy the other night, like his first wife. 6:56, here's Rush.
Folks, you want to hear a real crock? Politico says that Judge Brett Kavanaugh faces the widest partisan divide of any Supreme Court nominee in recent history. According to The Hill, Americans are more divided on Trump's Supreme Court pick than any other since Judge Bork, based on polls. Gallup says that 41% of Americans support Kavanaugh's nomination, 37% oppose it. The Pew Research Center has similar results. The vast majority of Republicans want Kavanaugh approved, but according to Pew, 53% of Democrats are worried that the court would shift too far to the right under Judge Kavanaugh. So what does all this mean? Zip, zero, nada. It doesn't matter a hill of beans. The people don't choose, the people don't vote. Supreme Court justices are not subject to polling data or elections, maybe elections, but not polls. The only people that get to vote on Judge Kavanaugh are the 100 members of the Senate. And despite millions spent by liberal groups on negative ads, and despite poll-based panic stories by the drive-bys, hoping to derail Kavanaugh. The Democrats do not have the votes unless there are some Republican traitors. And the odds of that are not good this time around.
Did you know that over 90% of male enhancement pills are virtually the same thing that's repackaged, redone over and over again? Why settle for the same old product when you can get something completely different? Something that takes male enhancement into the 21st century. Something that really works. Men, you need to try Noxitril, the explosive, all-natural male enhancement formula that will unlock your performance in the bedroom to a level you could only dream of. Try to imagine Viagra on steroids. Noxitril is so powerful, that's why it took years for it to finally become available to the public without a prescription. So call now and take advantage of our special Noxitril free bottle offer today. Oh yeah, we recommend that you use the Noxitril dose as directed. Think of your partner. We certainly don't want you to overperform in the bedroom.
Call now and find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril while supplies last. Call 1-800-605-1673. Free bottles for a limited time, so call now. 800-605-1673. That's 800-605-1673.
The intersection in Hearn Avenue and 4th Street dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. Heat advisory. No, seriously, sunny and hot today, over 100. Right now, 77 at Keel. It's 7 o'clock. Here comes Fox News, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning at 7:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Erin got news. It's local. It's next.
Tragedy in Natchitoches will have the story of the death of a baby. Hot temps expected. In fact, we are under a heat advisory, and a local food place shut down because of health violations.
Is Shreveport sitting on a potential gold mine, or are we at least not giving due credit, props, as the kids say, to Shreveport culture? First segment, Matt's got something to say about that. Hopefully he won't stomp his feet. Well, actually, hopefully he will. Fletcher Sports, Traffic and Weather, it's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on Keel.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
DuPont Fish Market on Market Street has been shut down by state officials. Health inspectors found numerous health code violations that they deemed unsafe and dangerous to the public. According to inspectors, DuPont had rodents living in the shop, rusted utensils, and unclean surfaces that come in contact with food. In order to reopen, the fish market must correct all cited violations. Natchitoches police investigating the death of a 6-month-old baby boy. According to police, the baby was taken from a home in a trailer park. The mother said 2 people broke into her home, sprayed her with mace, and took the baby. Police began a search of the area. About an hour later, they found a fire where the child was being burned to death. At this time, the search for suspects continues. A case of West Nile reported in the region. Matt Parker with that.
Of the 6 reported cases of West Nile in the state, 1 happened in the local area. The Louisiana Department of Health is reporting that a serious case of West Nile virus has been diagnosed in DeSoto Parish. Of the 3 types of West Nile virus, the neuroinvasive type is the most serious as it attacks the brain and spinal cord. That is the type of West Nile that can lead to death or permanent damage. Health officials say that if you're feeling ill, it's best to seek treatment from a doctor immediately. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
The feds stepping up efforts to battle crime in Shreveport, the goal to get armed felons off the streets. U.S. Attorney David Joseph says many of these criminals are known to police because they're repeat offenders.
And it's not that hard to figure out. You look at the rap sheets of these people. You look at what the neighbors are saying about who's causing problems, who's terrorizing their neighborhoods, and it's pretty easy to get a list together of who we need to prosecute.
Since the Project Safe Neighborhoods program was implemented last year in Shreveport, violent crime has seen a significant drop. Big skirmish over lethal injection in Louisiana. Attorney General Jeff Landry blames the governor for the lack of executions in our state. The governor insists the reason behind the delay comes down to the lack of availability of drugs to carry out the injections.
It requires a drug cocktail. Those drugs are not available. And absent some change in legislation, for example, those drugs cannot be made available.
The AG's office has suggested following the example of other states by expanding the execution method options. Heat advisory issued for the northern part of the state as the heat index values could reach 110 degrees. The National Weather Service says the hot temperatures are expected to last a while. At SEC Media Days, Alabama coach Nick Saban made it clear he doesn't know who his starter will be between Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa.
It's still to be determined as to who's going to play quarterback for Alabama. So you can ask all the questions about it, but it's still to be determined. Tua basically missed spring practice due to an injury. Jalen had a good spring. Both guys have had great summers. and we're just going to have to see who wins the team in fall camp. So we'll see.
Bruce Springsteen propped himself on top of Billy Joel's piano to sing a duet with the Piano Man, who was celebrating a milestone last night. Springsteen surprised the audience, who loudly cheered Bruce at Madison Square Garden when he walked onto the stage. Springsteen rocked his guitar and sang while Joel worked hard on the piano. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Ruben.
Starting to see some slow-moving traffic at the intersection of East Kings Highway and Uri Drive. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twelve past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. KEEL app is a free download, always free, and presented by Office Furniture Source. Sort of only circuitously related to our topic in this segment. I told Erin before the show started, did you realize, and I saw this last night, read a couple of articles, that on its own, standing by itself, Texas is the third largest oil producer in the world. Saudi Arabia,
wow.
Russia, Texas.
Texas.
On its own is the third largest oil producer in the world.
That's
because of
pretty
shale in
amazing.
the Permian Basin. They say that the shale oil available in the Permian Basin is probably just as much or more as remains in the Middle East. Going, damn. So Which leads us to the question we ask all the time about Louisiana versus Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Is what does Texas do that we don't, we ought to start? What do we do that Texas doesn't, we ought to quit?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things Texas seems to do, in fact, it's one of the things that people who live, it's like that Lyle Lovett song. That's right, you're not from Texas, but Texas wants you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I know people who lived in Texas who are like 50 years old and lived in Texas for a year and don't live in Texas anymore and consider them and still think of themselves
Texans.
as Texans.
Oh, they will forever be Texans.
Why is that?
That's,
I mean,
it's just ingrained.
You were there for a year. I know somebody who's 50, lived in Austin for 1 year, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
And calls themselves Texan.
Texas is in your blood, I guess. I don't know.
So why isn't Louisiana?
I think it kind of is.
If you're from New Orleans.
Yeah. He may be right about that. If you're Cajun, if you're from Louisiana and you sound like you're from Louisiana, you might forever.
Hey, drive south and ask anyone in the New Orleans, Baton Rouge area, hey, where's Shreveport, Texas? They don't know. They don't care. You're not part of the state to them. We're just add-ons.
Yeah, Texas has got a speed in a lot of areas.
That's interesting because Matt wrote an article, put a post up on KEELnews.com a couple of days ago. What was the title? You got it up in front of you there, kid?
I can pull it up real quick. Hold on. I was looking at something else.
And it has to do with...
Should Shreveport do more to promote its musical history?
Say it again, please, because I was kind of talking over you.
Should Shreveport do more to promote its musical history?
Because we started talking about this earlier in the week, in the wake of the death of Mr. Stan Lewis, who did so much to promote Shreveport and its music and music around the region, and in so many ways gave so many people who did not have the opportunity to that point an opportunity to have their music exposed to not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, but in fact millions.
Right.
The world.
And we started talking about Stan Lewis and Municipal Auditorium. It just is every time, like when Bob Dylan came here and played Municipal. And Matt, you just have an endless series of stories, little vignettes, if you will, about the number of artists who want to come play Municipal Auditorium because of its history.
Exactly. I mean, and it's not just based in one musical group. It's not like just country guys want that and appreciate it. It goes across the whole musical spectrum, whether you're talking to Jack White, Bob Dylan, the guys from Queens of the Stone Age, Lemmy from Motorhead. They all appreciate what was done during the Louisiana Hayride years and all the people that played that stage. Elvis, James Burton, the list goes on. Hank Williams.
What was the Lemmy Kilmister of Motorhead?
Yeah.
Wanted to play his goal. Literally,
he knew he was getting sick.
He knew he was a dying man, and on his bucket list, if you will, not to trivialize the term bucket list, correct me if I'm wrong, he wanted to come to Shreveport and play Municipal Auditorium and play a song with James Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he got ill where that was impossible. But,
Jeez.
Now, as a result...
we let it slip.
...of our vast and rich musical history here in Shreveport, we have, of course, this huge museum downtown where people from all across the South, all across America, come and view... Oh, wait a second.
Where?
We don't have that.
Well, if you go to a concert at the Municipal, they open up the little side room, the 20 by 20 room that has all the accoutrement history, where it's got literally a couple of KWKH microphones. I think there's a jacket from Waylon Jennings and somebody's guitar.
It's minimal at best. Is that fair to say?
Fair.
Read a little bit because it was really a good article. This is Matt's article, his post a couple of days ago at KEELnews.com. And read just the opening paragraph or two.
Every once in a while, I just have to get on my soapbox and shout. And this week, what's really bugging me is how the city of Shreveport almost completely ignores its rich and powerful musical history. And I say almost because there's only a 20 by 20 quote-unquote museum and municipal auditorium. There are some random statues of musical icons just placed around the town. There's a banner that says Elvis has left the building at Hirsch. But outside of those few small items and nods, there's not much else. And then I go on to talk about how other cities, literally their cornerstone, Nashville, Austin, Memphis, use their musical history as the cornerstone of their entire community, and everything flows from that. But in Shreveport, instead of, using what we have, that's great in New Orleans, let's take that and try to bring it up here, and it just isn't applicable. We're trying to create things instead of using what's literally has been ingrained in Shreveport's culture for 50, 60, 100 years.
Read the last paragraph or two of the post. See how I want folks to know how you wrapped it up.
Well, how I wrapped it up was basically, we should open up a museum. We should do more to promote it. Use our musical past and present, because there's a lot of bands that are currently on the road, like the Seratones, who are getting national attention all over the place, that are out there that we just, do nothing with. We should use that to promote the city and tourism on a national level, and, spend some money to actually boost the city as a whole and use that to promote what we have. And before you fix the damn roads, people start chirping, remember, if you create an environment that promotes tourism and have some attractions, you can bring in new business and dollars that will eventually fix the road and take care of some of our plight.
Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. Well done, young man.
Mm-hmm.
Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Do you think Matt's on to something?
Yeah.
Do you think that the words that he has spoken over the last couple of minutes, do they ring true with you? And is that something that we as a city should explore and cultivate? 19 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Ruben's here.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Ford Street's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twenty-one past 7 o'clock. Here's Keel Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Conference USA media members tabbed Louisiana Tech to finish second behind North Texas in the league's West Division in football this year. The balloting took place at the annual Media Day in Irving, Texas on Wednesday. Florida Atlantic is the favorite to repeat in the East. SEC Media Days conclude today in Atlanta. Alabama and Nick Saban were center stage yesterday. The Tide's head coach blamed the media for creating a quarterback controversy, despite the fact it was him who pulled Jalen Hurts at halftime of the national title game in January and inserted freshman Tua Tagovailoa. The move paid off with the rookie from Hawaii tossing the game-winning touchdown in the overtime win over Georgia. Saban also said he was unsure if Hurts will be on the roster when the season opens, when he was asked if the junior quarterback plans to transfer. Hurts is expected to graduate in December with a year of eligibility remaining. The British Open is underway at Carnoustie. Phil Mickelson, Ricky Fowler, and Jordan Spieth were among those with early tee times. Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy hit the course at around 7 our time, with Tiger Woods teeing off at 9:21. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-four past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. So there is it a tiff? Is it going to be a major battle between Governor John Bel Edwards and State Attorney General Jeff Landry? What's the deal? And it has to do...
Oh, it's a big tiff.
It has to do with capital punishment.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was flashing back to nuns in Catholic school.
Scared me.
Okay.
Essentially, the Attorney General has sent a letter to the governor saying that his office is no longer going to be the legal representation in the fight over the death penalty in Louisiana. That's kind of essentially where it goes.
So explain to me, how did this all start? What's the genesis here? So this just didn't start yesterday.
Well, there was a lawsuit. There's a lawsuit that's been in the works for quite some time, trying to keep Louisiana from reinstituting executions.
See, pardon me for tying this together, and I'm not sure they're related at all, but they certainly were in my mind, as there's been another stay of trial for Grover Cannon.
Right.
Who good heavens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, earlier this week, there was a ruling that Louisiana has to delay executions for another year.
Pardon me, I cut myself off.
Mm-hmm.
Is if you don't, Grover Cannon is the one who has been charged with killing Shreveport policeman Thomas LaValle.
Yes,
okay, go
absolutely.
ahead. I'm sorry.
There's been another delay, at least another year, on reinstituting executions in Louisiana because the drug we use for lethal injection, the drug apparently is not available. Well, what's happened in other states, and I asked Matt yesterday because Texas executed another inmate day before yesterday, I think, and I said, gosh, it seems like they're executing people weekly now.
Yeah, they're rolling through them because there's a limited supply of this drug because, the companies won't sell them to the states.
Mm-hmm.
Texas has sort of a stockpile.
Pardon me. The companies won't sell them to the states.
Yeah, it was made for something else, and then people started putting them to death, and we're like,
because
we don't want our drug used for that.
Because these companies are afraid of being sued somehow by non...
It all has to do with legal fights, I'm sure.
By non-capital punishment activists.
Right, exactly.
I'm sure there's a lot of things to it, but anyway, Texas has got this big stockpile, but you're not allowed to use them once they go past the expiration date, so before this stuff expires and they waste the money and then you get a bunch of people on death row, they're trying to roll through them as quickly as possible and use up as much as their back stock as they can.
Well, now Jeff Landry...
An interesting way you phrased that, but we know what you mean.
He is blaming Governor Edwards for the lack of executions in the state, saying that victims' families suffer in legal limbo. But Edwards essentially said, that Landry hadn't even attempted to contact him or his office, and he sent this letter out of the blue.
Landry did, you mean?
Yeah, blindsided him. And
the governor actually said, I was blindsided.
He said the letter was out of the blue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The governor insists the reason behind the delay of executions comes down to the lack of availability of drugs to carry out the lethal injections. But Landry says you should look to what other states are doing, and they're turning to the use of other drugs. are other methods of execution and not just wait for this one drug that you've been waiting on. So, big legal skirmish. Now, I had contacted the AG's office earlier this week when this ruling came out and tried to get him on this week.
The way that you will be reticent in telling this story to give yourself that sort of pat on the back. But go ahead. Go ahead.
When the ruling came down, I noted that the Attorney General's office was involved in the lawsuit. And so I emailed his people and I said I'd like to talk with Jeff or his representative who's handling this lawsuit with regard to the state.
Right.
And regarding the death penalty. And they said, it was kind of like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I'd like to talk to whoever's handling this and representing the state of Louisiana in, trying to get this case handled. And you could tell who I was talking to wasn't quite familiar with it. So they said, let me check. And then they came back and said, we don't think we can do it this week, meaning this week we're in now. But you're the first on the list. We have you scheduled with him on Monday morning. So this Monday morning.
So the AG, Jeff Landry, will be joining us Monday morning.
Yeah, and so now the AG has gone back to say he is withdrawing his office as the legal representation for the state in this lawsuit.
Wow.
So did I have something to do with him realizing,
or at least doing it officially? At least doing it officially.
So I will have a lot of questions for him on Monday.
Because this was not something they had done, bluntly speaking, prior to your phone call and your questions about the status of the situation.
Right, and the suit was filed by people who want the death penalty stopped, and the Attorney General's office typically defends the state. Well, now he doesn't want to defend the state anymore because he sees the governor as part of the problem. And so they're in this, what do men do when they get in a dispute?
They have a throwing contest.
That's what they're having. They're having a throwing contest.
I'm here for you.
And, and they both want to know whose ball is bigger.
Couldn't have phrased that word.
Is that accurate?
That way you gotta go. 29 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM. It's today's promo. 29 past 7 o'clock. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at North Spring Street and East Stoner Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A baby kidnapped and burned to death in Natchitoches Police say the baby was reportedly taken from a home in a trailer park. The mother of the child said 2 people broke in, sprayed her with mace, and took her baby. Police began a search of the area. About an hour later, they found a fire where the child was being burned to death. Local fish market shut down. Matt Parker with that.
DuPont Fish Market on Market Street has been shut down by state officials. Health inspectors found numerous health code violations that they deemed unsafe and dangerous to the public. According to the inspectors, DuPont had rodents living in the shop, rusty utensils, and unclean surfaces that come in contact with food. In order to reopen, the fish market must correct all cited violations. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Qualifying to run for mayor of Shreveport runs through tomorrow. 7 people have qualified so far. Leo Savage was the first. Joining him were Adrian Perkins, Jim Talaferro, current mayor Ollie Tyler, Jerron Rogers, Termekis Dixon, and Stephen Jackson. The Department of Health reporting a serious case of West Nile virus diagnosed in DeSoto Parish. Of the 3 types of the virus, the neuroinvasive type is the most serious as it attacks the brain and spinal cord. That's the type of West Nile that can lead to death or permanent damage. Health officials say if you're feeling ill, it's best to seek treatment from a doctor immediately. Federal program in place to help reduce crime in our community. U.S. Attorney David Joseph says since the program was implemented last year, violent crime has seen a significant drop. Now, 2013 was Shreveport's lowest rate of violent crime, and Joseph hopes the project Safe Neighborhoods will reduce crime back to that rate.
Kind of the interconnectedness we are as a society now lends itself towards people having more information than they may have had in the past about what's going on, and it kind of acts as an echo chamber. People hear the same story over and over again, and they think there's an epidemic going on.
Accused cop killer's trial once again delayed. The trial of Grover Cannon, the man accused of killing Shreveport police officer Thomas LaValle, has had his trial delayed for another 3 months. He was set to be in court August 20th. However, that date's been moved back to October 8th. Heat advisory in effect for the northern half of the state. Meteorologist Mario Valverde in Shreveport says North Louisiana will see temps in the low hundreds by tomorrow.
103, 104, very, very possible. Now, you go out west, I mean, they're talking like 108 over in the DFW area.
Valverde says being too active out in the heat could have some serious health repercussions. There was mixed reaction to President Trump backpedaling the comments he made Monday during his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We need to be pressing back on Vladimir Putin. Putin is a KGB thug. I think it was a mistake what the president said at the press conference. I think we're also seeing a lot of folks on the political left trying to take advantage of it, using hyperventilating and using extreme rhetoric, using words like treason, which is ridiculous. It was a mistake. He shouldn't have said what he said. But we should be focusing on the substance, and the substance is standing up against Russian aggression.
Senator Ted Cruz. Forbes magazine's released their annual list of the most valuable sports teams. No big change at the top.
The Dallas Cowboys are once again the most valuable team in the world. Forbes magazine publishing their annual list Wednesday of most valuable sports franchises, with the Cowboys put at $4.8 billion, up 14% from last year. Rounding out the top 5 soccer clubs, Manchester United, Real Madrid, and FC Barcelona, and then the New York Yankees. Of the 50 most valuable teams according to Forbes, 29 of them are NFL teams, with the Cincinnati Bengals, Detroit Lions, and Buffalo Bills just missing out. The biggest gainer in terms of ranking on the list was the Houston Rockets, jumping up 14 spots to number 40. The biggest fall was the New York Jets, slipping 8 spots to number 21. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Job fair going on all day today at Municipal Auditorium, the city hosting the event, but several large companies will be there looking for workers. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. This is only circuitously related to that DuPont fish story. When I was a little kid, remember how in cartoons with like mice?
Oh, stop.
No, I'm serious now. Remember
Jerry in his living room?
No, exactly right. Because I'm not going to have you reread the story, but remember how, like, when Tom would be chasing Jerry, and there would be like a little hole in the wall, like a little sort of an archway.
Oh, yeah.
And he would run into the archway to get away from Tom.
He have a Rembrandt on the wall.
Of course.
And he would go in, and there would be his little mouse living room.
Of course.
But what amazed me, what always fascinated me, was that right there in sort of like in the quarter round in the frame, that there was always like a little mouse hole, a little archway. And I remember I was about 4 or 5 years old, and we had moved, and I asked my mother why we didn't have a mouse hole. And she tried to explain to me that was on cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't really want a mouse hole. And in fact, if we came across a house with a mouse hole, that we probably wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah, you need to get out of there.
So, like I said, only circuitously related to the DuPont Fish Market story. 739, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Hey, it made sense up here where there's lots of pressure. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Ruben.
The intersection at North Spring Street and East Stoner Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Oh, I'm getting stove up.
I beg your pardon?
I'm getting stove up.
We'll talk about that later. Okay, got to play hurt. Suck it up, kid. Got to play hurt. 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright, and Erin McCarty. I'm going to say this out loud, and Matt's going to think Matt's going to have it wrong. But television's coming up this fall. Television's newest superhero, because there's a lot of that on TV now. A lot of Marvel and DC. I guess there's the Arrow and Flash, and what are some of the others?
There's a ton
there's a ton of them. And so, starting this fall, America's newest superhero will be, and it's not what Matt thinks, because we were kind of talking about this yesterday, and we'll touch on this only momentarily, that they're going to do a Batgirl TV series.
Batwoman.
And she will be openly lesbian. And Matt, this got Matt mad, and I said, well, they're doing that.
Why?
No, that didn't get me mad. Robert talking about it got me mad because he's an idiot.
No, Robert's not an idiot. If you think for a moment, look, it goes back to the Christina Aguilera, I take my shirt off and expose myself because it empowers me. No woman ever thought of that on her own. Some guy, here's my theory on this, okay? There's a whole bunch of Hollywood and or show business moguls, and it's the 70s. and women's liberation and equality is starting to sweep the land. And they have this Hollywood showbiz dirty old guy Harvey Weinstein type moguls meeting. And they say, dude, this women's lib thing, it's going to screw up our business. We can't sell sex anymore. We can't sell naked women. We can't sell sexuality. What are we going to do? And one of the guys goes, well, I've got this idea. We'll tell them if they take their shirts off, it makes them more equal than ever.
Oh, boy.
And all the other guys go, what? Nobody's going to believe that. What woman in a million years would ever buy that line of horse hockey? Well, you know what? You did. Tie that to the new Batwoman is openly gay television series. And I said to Matt, if you think for an instant that the producers of this show are portraying, despite what they did in the comic book, if you think for an instant, with the target demographic for this show being teenage boys and young men, if you think for an instant that they want to portray Batwoman as lesbian because they are for LGBTQ, etc. rights, you're just kidding yourself. I guarantee you, in the first episode, they will have Batwoman, who is hot, making out with another hot woman. It's like Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron. Okay?
And its target demo is who?
Teenage boys. They are making Batwoman openly gay to show her making out with another hot woman to titillate teenage boys. And if you don't think that, if you think that they have some sort of higher calling in Hollywood, for the love of God, you're just fooling yourself. Which brings us to...
Tell me.
This fall, Hollywood's newest superhero. Not Arrow, not The Flash, not Batgirl. This fall, Hollywood's newest superhero is. Want to take a guess? Want to take a stab? Anyone?
No. Oh, I want to take a stab, but not at this.
Hollywood's newest superhero is Jesus.
Jesus is a superhero.
Netflix preps American Jesus fall series on reincarnated 12-year-old Christ. Oh, look, I've got your attention. Netflix has announced it plans to roll out a series this fall based on a 12-year-old boy who discovers he has reincarnated as Jesus Christ. Listen to me now. He can turn this is the network. What's it called? What kind of reel do they call it? Thrill reel. What's the term? Not the
sizzle reel.
Sizzle reel. He can turn water into wine, make crippled walk, and perhaps even raise the dead. That according to the network's description of the show, which is based on a 2009 comic book series. Mark Millar, the comic book creator of Kick-Ass and Kingsman, wrote the story that inspired the series as part of his expanding comic and movie empire, which was purchased by Netflix in 2017. Let me continue. As creator and inventor of some of the most memorable stories and characters in recent history, ranging from Marvel's The Avengers to Kick-Ass, Kingsman, Wanted, and Reborn franchises, Mark is as close as you can get to a modern-day Stan Lee. By doing a comic book about Jesus? That according to Netflix Chief Content Officer Ted Sarandos. American Jesus will run as multilingual in both English and Spanish, and will explore how a modern-day Jesus deals with the destiny to lead the world in conflict thousands of years in the making, etc., etc. America's new superhero is not Arrow,
Jesus,
not Batgirl, not The Flash. It's Jesus. What did I say a couple of years ago? Even longer than that, when Jon Stewart was on The Daily Show. And I said, nobody lives in Jon Stewart's zip code. Nobody lives in Jon Stewart's area code. Talent-wise, nobody lives in Jon Stewart's state.
Yeah.
He's that good. The problem with The Daily Show is, and Jon Stewart would say, there's nothing sacred. But if nothing's sacred at the end of the day, then there's nothing worth standing up for, or fighting for, or defending. And at the end of the day, when you have nothing worth defending or fighting for, what do you have? You've got nothing. And it makes a mockery of your two sons, to be perfectly blunt about it, who are defending America, one who did and one who is.
Yeah.
Do you think any of the people that are putting this show together, do you think any of the people that put together the Daily Show, continue to put together the Daily Show, think that America or religion or America as it was founded or the traditions of this country are worth defending, are worth standing up for? Or do you think they think America is a bad place, illegitimate, and only worth tearing down?
Trouble-ridden, and we got to fix it, and they're the ones to fix it with their slanted views.
Nothing worth defending. If nothing's worth defending, at the end of the day, you got nothing. 1017 FM, 710 Keel, 749. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at North Spring Street and East Stoner Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
KeelAccuWeather.com forecast sunny, hot, over 100 today. It's 81 at Keel, 750. Your money now. Eight before 8 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Fletch is ready.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Conference USA media members tabbed Louisiana Tech to finish second behind North Texas in the league's West Division in football this year. The balloting took place at the annual Media Day in Irving, Texas on Wednesday. Florida Atlantic is the favorite to repeat in the East. SEC Media Days conclude today in Atlanta. Alabama and Nick Saban were center stage yesterday. The Tide's head coach blamed the media for creating a quarterback controversy, despite the fact it was him who pulled Jalen Hurts at halftime of the national title game in January and inserted freshman Tua Tagovailoa. The move paid off with the rookie from Hawaii tossing the game-winning touchdown in the overtime win over Georgia. Saban also said he was unsure if Hurts will be on the roster when the season opens, when he was asked if the junior quarterback plans to transfer. Hurts is expected to graduate in December with a year of eligibility remaining. The British Open is underway at Carnoustie. Phil Mickelson, Ricky Fowler, and Jordan Spieth were among those with early tee times. Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy hit the course at around 7 our time, with Tiger Woods teeing off at 9:21. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Sometimes you got to play hurt. We'll talk about that just after 8 o'clock. Somebody's working in pain today.
Oh, yeah. I hit a deer last night coming back from Marshall.
We'll talk about it.
Train station.
Hang on. Yeah.
Boom.
She just couldn't wait. Had to get it out.
Screwed up my car. And I didn't think I was hurt.
No, your car is operational.
Oh, no, my car's got $2,000 worth of damage.
Okay, but in America today, a busted headlight is $1,750.
Well, it's a hood. The hood's damaged. The quarter panel's damaged.
I saw that the headlight and the bumper, above the left wheel.
The hood's got a big ding in it.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, the hood's got a ding. The quarter panel on the right is all screwed up.
Yeah, it looked like somebody hail damage.
It's going to be $2,000 or $3,000.
You know what
of
you
damage.
need to do? I'm totally serious.
Feel bad for the dealer.
No. Well, yeah. Here's what you do. We'll talk about it more in a little bit. What you do is, because there's still a lot of those hail damage places around the area.
Oh, say hail hit it.
Drive in there today.
And tell them hail got me.
And say, man, I've been so busy. I'm just getting around to getting my car fixed.
Yeah.
Can you guys take care of this? And they'll look at it and go, hail damage? You say, damn right.
Hail no.
I was in the thick of the storm.
Man.
756, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Sean Hannity.
Your morning cup of Sean. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
One other note on Comey. He tweeted, all who believe in this country's values must vote for Democrats this fall. Policy differences don't matter right now. History has its eyes on us. Well, even the press secretary for Hillary Clinton just flatly rejected Comey's call to support Democrats. Democrats don't want your endorsement, but thanks anyway. I would just say he has the right to remain silent. If he had a half a brain in him, he would. No wonder Democrats sound so desperate these days. This is what this election is going to be about. Democrats will end all investigations, and they will start an investigation a day, and then they will whip themselves into a frenzy where they can sort of try to make the case for impeachment because they don't have any positive agenda that's going to help the American people. And the single biggest threat to their power right now is Donald Trump's massive amount of success.
The conservative underground meets later today on the Sean Hannity Show.
Memory is tricky. You don't remember days, you remember moments. But when the old tapes and photos that hold your cherished memories degrade, or worse, you lose them, they're gone forever. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger. 8 years ago, we started Legacy Box to help you preserve those irreplaceable moments by converting all of your old tapes, photos, and even film into perfectly preserved digital files.
Here's how it works. Load your Legacy Box with your old tapes, film, pictures, and audio, and send them in. You'll get them back in a couple of weeks on DVD or a convenient thumb drive, ready to watch, share, and relive.
We take care of everything and provide updates at every step of the process. Over 250,000 families have trusted us to preserve their memories, and we've been featured in Good Housekeeping, Parents Magazine, and USA Today.
Don't risk losing your memories forever. Order your Legacy Box today.
Visit legacybox.com/USA, and for a limited time, you'll get 40% off your order. That's legacybox.com/USA for 40% off. Legacybox.com.
Breaking news and trending talk. 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KeelNews.com. KeelNews.com.
Starting to see some slow-moving traffic on I-20 westbound starting at Spring and Market. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning. It's 8:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Down yonder, Erin, local news, getting ready now.
Tragedy in Natchitoches. We'll talk more about that. A heat advisory issued for our region, and a local food business shut down by health inspectors.
We talked about this just a bit yesterday. Does the TOPS program really provide for Louisiana as a whole all the things it claims to do? Dr. Jeff Sato from LSUS says maybe not. Talk to him in less than 10 minutes. Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather. It's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Heat advisory issued for the northern part of the state. A heat index values could reach 110 degrees. Meteorologist Mario Valverde in Shreveport says the hot temps expected to last a while.
We're going to stay nice and toasty through the weekend. That's why everybody needs to be very cautious to avoid the heat of the day.
He says we'll have temperatures in the low hundreds possibly today and tomorrow, maybe Saturday as well. A baby kidnapped and burned to death in Natchitoches. Matt Parker has the latest.
Natchitoches police are investigating the death of a 6-month-old baby boy. According to police, the baby was taken from a home in Mayberry Trailer Park. The mother of the child said 2 people broke into her trailer, sprayed her in the face with mace, and took her child. Police began a search of the area for the baby. About an hour later, investigators found a fire where the child was being burned to death. At this time, the search for suspects continues. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
DuPont Fish Market on Market Street shut down by state officials. Health inspectors found numerous health code violations that they deemed unsafe and dangerous to the public. According to inspectors, DuPont had rodents living in the shop, rusted utensils, and unclean surfaces that come in contact with food. In order to reopen, the fish market must correct all cited violations. The feds are stepping in to help fight crime in Shreveport. Project Safe Neighborhoods aims to get armed criminals off the streets and behind bars. U.S. Attorney David Joseph tells us since the program was implemented last year in Shreveport, violent crime has seen a significant drop.
We are focusing more of our prosecutorial resources on violent crime, particularly felons with guns and drug dealers with guns who cause the most damage to the communities that they're in.
While Shreveport's currently enduring a bit of a spike in crime, the U.S. Attorney's Office says this initiative is yielding big results. Case of West Nile reported in the local area. Of the 6 reported cases in the state, 1 happened in our region. The Department of Health reporting that a serious case of West Nile virus has been diagnosed in DeSoto Parish. An accused cop killer's trial once again delayed. The trial of Grover Cannon, the man accused of killing Shreveport police officer Thomas LaValle in 2015, has had his trial delayed for another 3 months. Cannon was set to be in court August 20th. However, that date has been moved back to October 8th. Qualifying for Shreveport's mayoral race going on through tomorrow. 7 people qualified to run for the office yesterday. Leo Savage was first in line. Joining him were Adrian Perkins, Jim Talaferro, current Mayor Ollie Tyler, Jerron Rogers, Termikius Dixon, and Stephen Jackson. Big skirmish, maybe political, over lethal injection in Louisiana. Attorney General Jeff Landry blaming the governor for the lack of executions in our state. But the governor says Landry has not attempted to contact him or his office and sent this letter out of the blue.
I don't believe there has been any communication from him or his office to me or my office about this matter since about October of last year.
The governor insists the reason behind the delay of executions comes down to the lack of availability of drugs to carry out lethal injections. President Trump seems to be shifting his tone on Russia, trying out a tougher line. Trump said on Wednesday that when he met Russian President Putin in Helsinki, he told him to stay out of America's elections and, quote, that's the way it's going to be. State police have discovered $63,000 hidden above ceiling tiles in the home of a Michigan priest who's accused of embezzling millions. The cash was in $2,000 bundles. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Ten past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Reuben time.
Starting to see some slow-moving traffic on I-20 westbound starting at Spring and Market. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 12 past 8 o'clock. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. That KEEL app is always a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Dr. Jeff Sato is a political science professor at Louisiana State University here in Shreveport. Hey, Dr. Jeff, welcome back to KEEL.
Howdy.
So let's start here. I am looking at theadvocate.com, and it's an article of yours, an op-ed, if you will, of yours a few days ago, and the headline is, Would Louisiana Students really fare better at out-of-state schools if we defunded TOPS? But, Dr. Jeff, we need TOPS to keep Louisiana's best and brightest at home. Are you throwing a wrench in that accepted statement?
If you define best and brightest in a very broad sense, then I guess that statement would be true. But if as I think most people would do, if you limit it to a very small portion, the very highest achievers, then no, TOPS doesn't really do that at all.
Really? So is TOPS just a $300 million? Is it worth the $300 million annually we're spending?
Well, it depends on what you think is a good deal here. I mean, if you look at the standards, they are actually in terms of GPA. You get two things: you get a GPA in high school, and then standardized test score. GPA is pretty unchallenging to make, and then as far as the ACT score, which is typically the one used to judge this, the minimum amount in Louisiana that you would have to hit in order to qualify by law is actually currently lower than the national average. So, we're not looking at very high achieving students. We're looking at average, at least towards the bottom, average at best. So, again, if you want to take taxpayer dollars and pay for very average at best students, and a number of them, because again, there are many more there towards the bottom of the list than the top. Then if you think that's worthwhile, then I guess you'd say it's worth the money.
But you got to admit that some of those top achievers decide to stay in Louisiana because, yes, they're going to get academic awards, but TOPS will cover everything else. They are getting kind of everything paid for, where if they go on a scholarship to UT or Alabama, they are going to have some costs. They're not going to typically get everything paid for.
Yeah, again, it depends, what school we're talking about out of state. And also remember that TOPS doesn't pay for everything. It only pays for tuition. It doesn't pay for fees. And you look at this year's numbers, like at LSU, it's close to $1,000 you'd be paying in fees on top of TOPS. So it doesn't pay for everything. And that would be the case perhaps at another out-of-state school. But, when we talk about the very highest achievers, I mean, basically, in-state, out-of-state, private school, whatever, they often can write their own ticket. So to them, TOPS is irrelevant.
Here is the one sentence from your article that keeps jumping out at me, and it literally flies in the face of everything that everybody says, or at least everybody who loves their TOPS. It flies in the face of everything that everybody says about TOPS. Quoting you, fully funding TOPS does next to nothing to prevent brain drain because the vast majority of TOPS recipients don't represent high achievers. That is basically what you just said that, but expound a little bit more on that TOPS isn't really keeping our best at home.
Yeah, sure. If we look at the people towards the bottom of the list, and just to give an idea of what it's like, the top quarter of TOPS recipients, the average ACT score is around 27, 28. And again, right now, if you're looking at the bottom level, it's more like 20, 21. So with those kinds of students, and you compare out-of-state versus in-state tuition, I mean, it's not even close. You'd be paying 2, 3, 4 times the amount, depending upon where you want to go, in tuition out-of-state than in-state. So, TOPS, again, is going to cover mostly, not fees, but mostly what you're going to pay. If you stay in-state, you'd pay far more going out-of-state. So, it's simply irrelevant when it comes to that kind of student.
And yet the political and cultural zeitgeist here in the state is that TOPS must be maintained, must be funded at any cost, given, I mean, take a look at the last special session, right? We spend $300 million a year on TOPS. How much is enough? How much is too much?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question policymakers have to face. Again, for example, you look at Texas A&M. Regular admission there would require an ACT score that only the top quarter of TOPS recipients can even meet. And so, if you say, all right, well, that's where we want to put the cutoff for those kinds of students, that high of achievement level, well, then TOPS only costs $75 million a year. But it's the other 225 or almost that payment. You've got to think about this. All right, these are average at best students, a lot of them, and so is that really the best expenditure of taxpayer dollars to subsidize this?
Dr. Jeff, can we ask you about the mayor's race real quick? They started qualifying. Sure. I think you got 7 in now. Leo Savage was the first to show up. Current Mayor Ollie Tyler. There's a bunch of others. Are you expecting any surprises between now and the end of qualifying tomorrow?
No, I'm not. I think pretty much you're seeing it's predictable what you're seeing right now. The people who said they're going to run are running, and if we see names that we haven't seen before, I don't think they're going to be competitive candidates.
What do you anticipate now, as they start electioneering? Is this going to be clean? Is this going to be dirty? Somewhere in between?
I think it'll be somewhere in between. A lot of people clean, dirty. That's relative terms to a lot of people. So I think spirited. We might see some spirited campaigning. It's typically when you've got an incumbent that just doesn't have it entirely wrapped up, you're going to see something like that.
Speaking of that, pardon me, do you recall, and we've brought this up a couple of times on the show, do you recall ever a situation, an election year, when an incumbent mayor, in this case Ms. Tyler, when an incumbent mayor faced such difficult opposition from her own party?
Oh, well, yeah, if you look back in the 90s, when Bo Williams ran 20 years ago for re-election, I mean, certainly he got some competition, although his main competition was, of course, from the other party. But in Louisiana's system, there everybody running technically without a primary, just a general election, it would tend to encourage or make more likely those kinds of things to happen. So it's not that surprising, particularly since Freeport's a now majority Democrat, kind of Back to the Future kind of thing, majority Democrat electorate, or at least voting electorate. So, yeah, I don't think that's that unusual.
Does Ollie bashing get someone in the runoff, or are you going to have to do more than that?
No, it'll get you there, but I mean, you've got to apparently, by definition, bash her better than anybody else to get into the runoff with her. So, I mean, when incumbents run, it's usually a good portion of the issues around the election is a referendum on the incumbent. So certainly there's going to be something like that. I mean, you're not going to have candidates out there totally ignoring her and just saying, well, this is what I'm going to do, and not make any comparison at all to the current regime, because it's just easier that way to make those kinds of comparisons, to put that in the mind of voters and make it a binary either or kind of thing. So you'll see that. You'll see quite a bit of it.
Bluntly put, Dr. Jeff, are the Republicans in the race at the end of the day going to be anything more than sacrificial lambs for whoever is the leading Democrat candidate?
I don't. At this point, I don't see a Republican candidate or really anybody but a Democrat making the runoff, just kind of given the dynamics of
So pardon me, you think it's going to be Dem versus Dem in the general election?
I think that's the likeliest possibility, yes. I mean, look at the performance of the Republicans the last couple of elections. I mean, you 8 years ago you had one that made the runoff but basically was just slaughtered, and then didn't even make the runoff 4 years ago. So The party in Shreveport or Caddo has not proven to be that robust, at least in mayoral elections recently, and I haven't seen anything that would change that.
Got you so much. Thank you, Dr. Jeff. Appreciate your time.
Sure.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel, 22 past 8 o'clock. Sports update on the way with Fletch. Right now, traffic and weather. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Greenwood Road and Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny today, very hot with a high of 102. The record is 104. Mainly clear and warm with a low of 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
One oh one seven FM, 710 Keel. Time for sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Conference USA media members tabbed Louisiana Tech to finish second behind North Texas in the league's West Division in football this year. The balloting took place at the annual Media Day in Irving, Texas on Wednesday. Florida Atlantic is the favorite to repeat in the East. SEC Media Days conclude today in Atlanta. Alabama and Nick Saban were center stage yesterday. The Tide's head coach blamed the media for creating a quarterback controversy, despite the fact it was him who pulled Jalen Hurts at halftime of the national title game in January and inserted freshman Tua Tagovailoa. The move paid off with the rookie from Hawaii tossing the game-winning touchdown in the overtime win over Georgia. Saban also said he was unsure if Hurts will be on the roster when the season opens, when he was asked if the junior quarterback plans to transfer. Hurts is expected to graduate in December with a year of eligibility remaining. The British Open is underway at Carnoustie. Phil Mickelson, Ricky Fowler, and Jordan Spieth were among those with early tee times. Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy hit the course at around 7 our time, with Tiger Woods teeing off at 9:21. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
It's not a whoopee cushion.
It's not. It's an
101.7
old,
FM and
old
710
woman
Keel.
cushion.
Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. We got about 3.5 minutes here. So you had a little playing hurt today.
Yeah.
And nothing but my respect for
Whatever.
Yeah, you ran over an animal last night
I didn't run over an animal. The animal ran into my path.
and lost.
It's not like I ran into the woods and hit a bear.
No, you were just taking out all your aggression on animal killing
So
that
you're
you were
coming back
promoting
from Marshall.
yesterday.
Tell us what happened.
I was on Highway 80 headed east, and it was 8:45, so it was dark. And out of the blue, just pew, a deer comes strolling across the street, and he wasn't really running. He was just kind of at a doop-de-doo-de-doo.
How was he?
Doop-de-doo-de-doo.
Oh, yes, the deer move.
And I had a passenger in my front seat, and we both were like, oh, I thought it was a dog. We said, oh, shiznit. And I swerved as hard as I could to the left to avoid hitting it.
Now, you're on that stretch of Highway 80, which is
Yeah.
coming between Marshall and where you get back on I-20.
Right.
Which is...
that 12-mile stretch, and
Look,
it's dark.
If I ever wanted to live in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
that's where I'd go live. And if
Yeah.
the only landmark I can think of, there's a bunch of big old houses on the right-hand side as you're
Mhm.
coming back east toward Shreveport.
Right.
But then on the left-hand side, there's either an old abandoned liquor store or an old like Dairy Queen or Dairy Freeze or one of those little
Not sure which.
frozen treat offshoots.
Yeah, well, I clipped the deer with my front right, and and I didn't know, and I asked my passenger, I said, you think I'd hurt the car pretty bad? And he said, well, the headlight's out, and I couldn't tell.
So at
With
that
my-
point, are you in pain? Are you starting to tighten up? Are you
No, I was fine. I was absolutely fine.
So what happened that your
And
back's messed up?
Well, when you hit something, you tense up,
Mm.
and you tighten up, I guess, and it did jolt me. And I am old, and, I don't know. I've got a little thing going through my neck now, going down through my back, but I didn't, I'm not going to go to the hospital and all that. I'll go see Jason and get him to bang on me with that hammer thing on my back and
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
But, the whole problem is you got to go to the insurance, you got to go to take it to Yoakum, you got to go through all the getting the rental car and all that nonsense. And it's just, I'm too old for, like what's the Princess and the Pea? Put one little pea under the mattress and
Here's,
it's
let me
just irritating.
give everyone some perspective. Erin waited close to 10 years to redecorate her house,
Mhm.
despite having the money set aside. She waited a decade to redecorate her house and would not have done it unless the hot water heater had fallen through the
It didn't fall.
It was
It
like
sprung a
It was
leak.
like Tom Hanks in the money pit. The only thing lacking was feet a waving. And the
Wasn't quite
reason
that
you
bad.
didn't was because you didn't want it to mess up your nap. And
Yeah, I like my afternoon nap.
You redecorated your home to
Mhm.
a palatial degree.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you had no choice.
Right.
Same with me. I've been waiting 10 years to redecorate my house. The money is set aside.
But it'll mess up your nap.
And I'd have to sweep.
Mhm.
829, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Erin has local news just ahead. Ruben's here. Traffic update.
The intersection at Greenwood Road and Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
information. KEEL News now.
A baby kidnapped and burned to death in Natchitoches. Police say the baby was reportedly taken from a home in a trailer park. The mother of the child said two people broke in, sprayed her with mace, and took her baby. Police began a search of the area. About an hour later, they found a fire where the child was being burned to death. Local fish market shut down. Matt Parker with that.
DuPont Fish Market on Market Street has been shut down by state officials. Health inspectors found numerous health code violations that they deemed unsafe and dangerous to the public. According to the inspectors, DuPont had rodents living in the shop, rusty utensils, and unclean surfaces that come in contact with food. In order to reopen, the fish market must correct all cited violations. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Qualifying to run for mayor of Shreveport runs through tomorrow. 7 people have qualified so far. Leo Savage was the first. Joining him were Adrian Perkins, Jim Talaferro, current Mayor Ollie Tyler, Jerron Rogers, Termicus Dixon, and Stephen Jackson. The Department of Health reporting a serious case of West Nile virus diagnosed in DeSoto Parish. Of the 3 types of the virus, the neuroinvasive type is the most serious as it attacks the brain and spinal cord. That's the type of West Nile that can lead to death or permanent damage. Health officials say if you're feeling ill, it's best to seek treatment from a doctor immediately. Federal program in place to help reduce crime in our community. U.S. Attorney David Joseph says since the program was implemented last year, violent crime has seen a significant drop. Now, 2013 was Shreveport's lowest rate of violent crime, and Joseph hopes the project Safe Neighborhoods will reduce crime back to that rate.
Kind of the interconnectedness we are as a society now lends itself towards people having more information than they may have had in the past about what's going on, and it kind of acts as an echo chamber. People hear the same story over and over again, and they think there's an epidemic going on.
Accused cop killer's trial once again delayed. The trial of Grover Cannon, the man accused of killing Shreveport police officer Thomas LaValle, has had his trial delayed for another 3 months. He was set to be in court August 20th. However, that date's been moved back to October 8th. Heat advisory in effect for the northern half of the state. Meteorologist Mario Valverde in Shreveport says North Louisiana will see temps in the low hundreds by tomorrow.
103, 104, very, very possible. Now, you go out west, I mean, they're talking like 108 over in the DFW area.
Valverde says being too active out in the heat could have some serious health repercussions. There was mixed reaction to President Trump backpedaling the comments he made Monday during his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We need to be pressing back on Vladimir Putin. Putin is a KGB thug. I think it was a mistake what the president said at the press conference. I think we're also seeing a lot of folks on the political left trying to take advantage of it, using hyperventilating and using extreme rhetoric, using words like treason, which is ridiculous. It was a mistake. He shouldn't have said what he said. But we should be focusing on the substance, and the substance is standing up against Russian aggression.
Senator Ted Cruz. Forbes magazine's released their annual list of the most valuable sports teams. No big change at the top.
The Dallas Cowboys are once again the most valuable team in the world. Forbes magazine publishing their annual list Wednesday of most valuable sports franchises, with the Cowboys put at $4.8 billion, up 14% from last year. Rounding out the top 5 soccer clubs, Manchester United, Real Madrid, and FC Barcelona, and then the New York Yankees. Of the 50 most valuable teams according to Forbes, 29 of them are NFL teams, with the Cincinnati Bengals, Detroit Lions, and Buffalo Bills just missing out. The biggest gainer in terms of ranking on the list was the Houston Rockets, jumping up 14 spots to number 40. The biggest fall was the New York Jets, slipping 8 spots to number 21. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Job fair going on all day today at Municipal Auditorium, the city hosting the event, but several large companies will be there looking for workers. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Let me open this segment with the interjection. Damn, 101.7 FM is 710 Keel, Robert and Erin. I mean, this came across literally during Erin's newscast, and I'm standing there waving, and she's waving me off. A plane crash downtown Shreveport. What the heck, kid?
Yeah, it looks like the pilot is safe after crashing the plane. It was near the downtown airport. Apparently, the plane ran off into the grass or a field.
It says the call came in that the plane crashed into a field just north of the Shreveport downtown airport. There was no fire caused by the crash. No one was injured. So I'm just sort of guessing that he kind of missed the airport or missed the runway.
Man, that is so lucky. Can you imagine if you're putting down in a plane in a field and you're coming into a city and when you're coming into downtown, you're coming into a city.
Any word on what kind of plane it was? Was it a prop? Was it you get a lot of corporate jets landing downtown, etc.?
Does not say.
No.
Okay, we'll see what we can find out during the break.
Man.
839, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Here's Ruben. Here's traffic.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Cotton Street, and we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROW.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very hot today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 102. The record is 104. Warm with mainly clear skies, low 79 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel. It's Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. This is an interesting turn of events. Shreveport City Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch is here in studio.
She kicked the door in.
But in a delicate and dainty ladylike way.
Yes, she did.
Okay,
I'm joking.
So I'm just going to like kind of set this up. And then I'm going to let you two BFFs hash this thing out.
Hang on a minute now.
You can handle this. Basically, you two have been somewhat verbally at odds over the last couple of days over the fallout from the city council vote for the $10,000 for, her name was Tanisha Morris, and the Shreveport Urban Film Festival.
Right.
And a couple of texts from Ms. Lynch that you kind of rubbed you the wrong way. You may have taken offense to, and a couple of things that Erin said back on the radio that Miss Stephanie maybe kind of said, "What the hell are you talking about?" So you're both here. You're both in the same room.
And you put us close together too.
You're sitting next to each other.
This could turn into Springer.
So who would like to go first? Who has the first question and or the first statement about what has happened?
Well, I just came by to give Robin, Erin. I don't even know your name.
You'd be amazed how many people call me either Robin or Roger. Okay? For the next 4 or 5 minutes, Robin or Roger is not here. This is between you and Arnold down there on the end.
Leave her alone.
Well, I wasn't sure if we needed a group hug. I just wanted to just come by and, and see you. And
yeah, we have a mutual goal for what's best for Shreveport. I think that would be very obvious. We're both very passionate. I took offense by the quote that says, I'm squarely holding you all responsible for inciting a white mob against this young lady. And we're talking about the Urban Film Festival. If I incited a white mob, I hope you know me well enough to know that was not my intent. That's all I would hope you would know.
Okay.
So let me start here. So what was it about what we or Erin said in reference to the Shreveport Urban Film Festival that motivated you to send that?
Well, I think the original arguments were saying that it was segregated, it was discriminatory. I don't know if you all said that, but that was certainly part of the discussion, which was not true. And that kind of took a life of its own, and then it morphed into the timetable, and is there something else going on behind the scenes? Just a lot of innuendos. No one called me to ask me anything, but it's just a lot of misinformation that I think took a life of its own, and we know that there are certain...
Those were pretty strong words.
Well, there are certain people who, if you feed them red meat, they're on it all day.
You bet.
You know, and I just thought that some of the conversation was like feeding red meat to a lion. And, you know, that can be pretty dangerous at times, seriously.
And harmful. I get
harmful,
that. You bet.
Not just, you know, to the person, but to the whole. And so when people get incited and they get upset about certain things, it does cause them to behave in bad ways.
Should this whole issue have been handled differently? If you had it to do over again, would you have done it differently?
If I had it to do over again, I think, and I said this morning, that the timetable was close, and partly that's my fault. I accept responsibility for that because it was my legislation. I wanted to be there. And so, you know, had I been there 2 weeks before, I would have done it then. But I knew that was a meeting I was going to be at. And so I did the legislation then. But we've done legislation like that before, so I didn't think it was an issue, you know, that big of an issue that couldn't be worked around. And so, you know, I take responsibility for that. Because that was more for my schedule than it was, you know, the timing of the event.
And I got emails and texts. I mean, if I could show you all of them, said, but we have to look at the city code, which prohibits spending money on anything that distinguishes between race, sex, gender, etc. You know, how do you respond to that? This would have been city money spent on a festival that had exclusions.
Well, it had qualifications for entry, which basically said that at least the producer or the writer, an African American, which I thought in a multicultural society, and as I said, I'm the chair of the multicultural committee for the council, that it encouraged partnerships. I mean, I didn't see it any different than saying for a woman-owned business, it has to be owned by a woman 51% or more, because it encourages underrepresented groups and people to be more engaged and involved, and to have those opportunities.
Have you done more discussing, because Robert said you didn't answer my question the other day about who told Tanisha Morris city funding could be available? Was that you?
Well, that's a part of what we do as legislators, is to educate the community on resources. And I said this morning, the city has supported every single festival, from neighborhood festivals to Red River Revel. I mean, from Highland to Southern Hills. This is what we do.
So you heard about her festival and told her, I could probably get you some city funding.
Well, I do reach out when I see that people are trying to do things positively. I've done it a zillion times, or people come to us as well. And
Did she come to you?
Well, I don't really want to, I don't think it's material.
Okay.
Really.
All right.
I don't think it's material. But that happens sometimes.
In wrapping up, Erin said yesterday after reading your texts that she was, in no specific order, she said she was nauseous, she said she was angry, and then she said she wanted to cry. Do you still feel nauseous? Do you still feel angry? Do you still want to cry?
You know, not really, because I know Stephanie's passionate, and sometimes people will say things that when you put it in a text and you read it, it may not be what she would have said to me face to face, but I understand her point. because when she explained it about the meat to the lions, I get that. I understand that. And that helped. That helped me a little bit. It was harsh. We probably said some harsh things too, and I get that, and I understand.
But
what do you think about, pardon me, Miss Stephanie, once again, what do you think about her coming in here this morning? What do you think that says?
That she cared. She wanted to clear the air, I guess. I would assume.
Yes.
I would assume
absolutely.
so. Because I, like I said from jump, all these public officials and all that I deal with, and my phone goes off all morning. I have great respect because they're not getting rich doing what they're doing. And they spend a lot of their time and a lot of their off hours from their regular jobs doing this, and they're not getting. So I have a lot of respect and admiration for them, and I think she knows that. I would hope anyway, and I think it's mutual in a lot of the cases. So that's kind of where we are. I hope.
Group hug.
Oh, do it in front of the camera. Do it in front of the camera. 101.7 FM, 17. Miss Stephanie, thank you for coming in.
Thank you all for
Thank you for
having
coming
me.
in. It's nice to meet you finally. You're one of those people, and there's lots. I got to hurry here. I talk to them all the time on the phone, and we had not met until today, so thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and hot today. High today is going to be above 100. Right now it's 83 at KEEL.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
A new study from the University of California says that conservatives are much more likely to acknowledge and understand that their lives have purpose and to understand what that purpose is. There's a big question about why this cuts across political divides, but maybe it's that you know that if your life has meaning, if your life has a purpose, if your life has a plan, then it's up to you to make it happen and not the government. And if you don't know that your life has purpose, that your life has meaning, that your life has a plan, it's time to find that out today.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
Good morning. It's 8:55, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Okay, to update, a plane crashed downtown, but no one injured.
Mm-hmm.
No, as far as we can find out to this point, no real damage other than, I guess, to the plane.
Right.
In a vacant field.
It's amazing.
I would assume adjacent to, there are parts of town, we talk about this a lot. There are parts of town that with which I am totally unfamiliar.
Mm-hmm.
And that area of Grimmett, North Shreveport, etc. is one of those.
Right.
I've never been to the airport up there.
What? Really?
No, I've never been
Oh, my goodness.
to the downtown airport.
You need to go.
And I've lived here 1,000 years.
Wow.
No.
I don't know if it's still there, but the restaurant in the downtown airport was pretty damn good.
Don't go there.
Oh.
So, where are we? Bring me...
That's a sore subject.
Give me an update on both of you, one of you, either of you in 30 seconds.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Plane crash update.
I don't have it in front of me, but basically there was the plane crashed into a field just north of the downtown airport. Nobody was injured. Sometimes when planes crash, they catch fire and cause a lot of damage.
No
that
fire,
didn't happen.
no pilot injury. We don't know at this point because it only happened like about 30 or 40 minutes ago. We don't know if anybody else was on board or what type of plane it was.
Yeah, no updates on that, but it happened just after 8 o'clock. No one injured, and it sounds like the biggest damage is like a divot in a field.
Well, I know who will be...
Hold on. Just got an update. It was a Piper-type aircraft. There was a passenger on board, but no one was injured.
Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9. Updates all morning long here on Keel. Who is that news guy that covers that? His name eludes me. See you tomorrow morning. Here's Kim Commando on Keel.
If you know which retailers have been hit by big data breaches, you'll have a great clue whether or not your data may have been stolen. But there are so many, it's almost impossible to keep track. Today, let's make it easier. Kim Commando with your Tuesday Consumer Tech Update, brought to you by FlexJobs. Find a better way to work with remote and flexible jobs. FlexJobs.com. In the past 18 months, if you shopped at Sears, Kmart, Macy's, Saks, or Lord & Taylor, there's a good chance your name, credit card number, and other personal data was stolen. Delta Airlines was hacked too. So was Arby's, Sonic, Panera Bread, and Whole Foods. Check your credit card and bank statements very carefully over the next 12 months and consider identity theft protection. I recommend LifeLock, one of our sponsors. You'll find a comprehensive listing of data breaches and merchants at commando.com. So even if I didn't mention a specific place where you shop or frequent, be sure to check the entire list there. I'm Kim Commando. Over the years, Epson has earned my trust. And you'll see what I mean when you experience the economical Epson EcoTank 4750. This is a fantastic wireless all-in-one printer, my printer of choice because it's cartridge-free and comes with up to 2 years of ink in the box, enough to print up to 11,000 color pages, equivalent to 30 ink cartridge sets. And when it's finally time for ink, you easily refill the printer's ink tanks in seconds. I print from any iPhone, iPad, Android tablet, or smartphone, or even through my Wi-Fi network. EcoTank is a compact, space-saving printer that's truly cartridge-free. It's available everywhere. More information at epson.com/EcoTankKim. And for a limited time through July 31st, get free overnight shipping when you use the promo code EcoTankKim at checkout when you buy any EcoTank printer. That's epson.com/EcoTankKim.
Offer valid within the 48 contiguous states. Exclusions apply, subject to availability.
We have reports of a minor accident on East Kings Highway near Burcoon's Industrial Loop, and we have some traffic delays on Hamilton Road near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. A paucity of nipple puckering. What? Sunny and hot today, high over 100. Right now it is 83 degrees at Keel.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.